Checking. Good. Let's get this shared out there. Hello, everybody. My name is Joseph Madding. I am here with the Sandbox to host a wonderful launch party. We're about 59 minutes left until we will launch the Presale Wave 4.2 our land presale events. This presale event allows anyone purchasing today to enjoy a 10% discount on all lands at a base cost of $43.20 pegged to US dollars, which would be purchased with sand tokens in equivalent value. This morning, it's actually, for me, it's 3 in the morning. Hopefully you're joining me from somewhere where it's a more reasonable hour. If you're watching and you have any questions about the process of purchasing land, what the Sandbox is all about, like that, I'm here to help you. That's my entire motivation today. So I am showing you here on the screen the current sandbox.game map, where you can see our presale 4.2 event space here. And it zooms in on that when you click the drop down and you click presale 4.2 on the map. So you'll know exactly where you can purchase land when it unlocks in about 57 minutes plus. If you have any questions, I would love to not just have to fill the air. So if you could please, I'd love to see it in the chat, no matter what platform you're watching from, whether that be Twitch TV, YouTube, you could be watching us on Periscope or any other manner of platforms. But if you are watching and you have a question about maybe it's just about assets, maybe it's about asset design, game design, obviously the way that you might purchase land here today, if you have never done that before, or if you'd just like to see more about the map, we can go around. I can show you places around the website, get you kind of a feeling of what the Sandbox is all about. So let me know down there in the chat any questions that you might have as I go. Right now I'm going to kind of fill this space up with a couple of pre-planned ideas, because I see a lot of questions that pop up in the Telegram chats and I want to make sure that those people have kind of the more basic answers for what a sale is and get those questions, answered. So here we go. So the first thing that I want to talk about is that with each one of these land pre-sale events, typically we announce new partnerships. We have seen in the past partners from as recently as Binance to previously we've had Shaun the Sheep, we've had Atari, which was hugely popular, a lot of different kind of partnerships. So today I want to talk about some of those partnerships just right now that are joining the metaverse. You can see here on this image that we have a ton of them, right? It's not just the Atari that I mentioned. We announced for this presale the Care Bears partnership that is going to be seen here in these presale events. You're able to get Care Bears NFTs during this presale if you're buying premium lands. You are potentially, later you could get those NFTs separately from people who might be selling those on a third-party market or something like that. If you don't get your hands on a premium land over the course of the next 4 days sales, we have partnerships with Square Enix and that. But I want to talk about the new partnerships specifically for this event. So, as I mentioned, we have the Care Bears partnership, which is fantastic, or has been, auctions for some of the original Care Bears toys. And those auctions have sold those original Care Bears for upwards of $10,000 for a Care Bear toy, which is astounding, right? And the unique thing about an NFT or non-fungible token asset for the Care Bears is not only can you have a sense of like that physical collectible toy in your games, but the Care Bears that we have designed are actually designed in a way where as we continue to patch the sandbox and add new features to what we call the child template, that Care Bear will get new actions and new features automatically because it is designed in such a way that it can kind of get updates over time. So super cool. The Care Bears assets that we have in here come in a bunch of different varieties, so you'll want to look more. And I'll show that as we go here going forward. Then we've also got the Community Gaming Battle DAO. This is new, actually, for me. I don't always get to hear. Yes. Hello, Allodev. $10,000. I know, it's astonishing. So I don't get to see all of these partnerships as they happen live. Some of our different aspects of our teams are working, every day. One of these, actually, I handle directly, but I don't get to handle many of them. So Community Gaming Battle DAO allows anyone to organize custom tournaments in a few minutes where players can earn money competing in their favorite games. And for example, players will be able to sign up for a Sandbox Voxel contest hosted on the platform, and winners will automatically have access to the prize pool, which is held in escrow by their smart contract and paid out to them. So, hello. So we have, that's an interesting concept here, the community gaming space. Can't reveal exactly where it is on the map right away, but if you're into the idea of possibly building those like tournaments, maybe you'll want to look for a little adjacency to them when the map unlocks in about 52 minutes, somewhere in there. We've got a partnership as well now, a new one with Harmony. Harmony is a fast and open blockchain for decentralized applications, suited to handle DeFi and cross-border finance. Harmony Mainnet intends to become one of the first proof-of-stake Layer 1 blockchains that will enable high-speed trading of NFT among its community. So the Harmony partnership, new, it's very cool. Okay, let me answer a question I got in chat now as I've been filling this space with this announcement. I'm going to go back to the map so everybody can always see the time. I've got the time right there at the top. Presale. The first question here, how does one go about trading their land at a future date? Okay, so if you're interested in trading your land, there are a couple of different ways to do that. Right now, the primary way that we have is our partnership with OpenSea.io, right? So I'm going to go there, and you can see what that looks like. So OpenSea.io has a lot of different NFT assets that are available. When you're purchasing a land or you're purchasing an estate in the sandbox, what you're buying is a non-fungible token that allows you to build in the metaverse, right? And down here on the right side, the left side of the screen, you can see the sandbox is listed. And when I click on that, I can see all the items that are listed for sale. And by default, they're listed in order of most recently put on this marketplace. So if you were trying to do a third-party sale, you could do it here. You could buy here if you're interested in doing that. I tend to click lowest price if I'm looking to buy a piece of land on here. And then you can scroll down and you can see they're listed in a price in two ways, in Ethereum and in Sand now. So as of this week, we're allowed to buy, sell, and trade in Sand on OpenSea. This is a new feature for OpenSea as well. But as I scroll down here, it looks like the first available land right now goes for about 0.2 Ethereum on this third-party market. There are times when it's less expensive. There are times when it's more expensive. Typically a little bit more expensive as we lead up to pre-sales and people get excited and they don't want to be in the hubbub of this sale. And again, typically you're going to find it for a little bit less cost when you do it directly through us, right? It's just not everybody's willing to wake up at, for me, it's 3 in the morning right now, right? And we're an hour away from the sale. So depending on where you are in the world. So I'll go ahead and move on from this. Another question here. It says the location of new partners' lands will be uploaded to the map at the start of the pre-sale or some minutes before. So, Daro, the answer to this is that we all get to see this at the same time. Even me working with the sandbox, I don't know exactly where everything is, except by those press releases that we put out there, right? So when you're looking at the Medium articles and it's showing you where things are, that's as much information as I have, and that's on purpose. It's important to understand that we don't want the community to think that people who work for the sandbox have the advantage in buying, selling, trading lands, right? I have to buy at the same time that you do. And I don't want, or I think it's more appropriate to say that they're doing a very smart thing here, because it shows trust in from us to you that you can trust us. Do not try to go swipe up the best possible lands and do all this nonsense, right? And then like, because I've seen a lot of antitrust questions over the year or so that I've been working with the company, and people are always asking like, oh well, you know, they have sand tokens or they have land tokens, and I can assure you that we don't, right? We're just like you. So we work to make this the best possible product that we can, and we want you to know that that it's all good. Let's see here. The question has come up twice now. How quickly does land usually sell out after the pre-sale wave starts? So the answer to that is super fast, but I don't know exactly. What I would say is that this land sale, and I'm going to go over to this computer, so sorry, I'm looking off to the side. This land sale is a lot like, if you click on the drop down and you click moon sale, a lot like the moon sale events. And you can't see this now, but in the moon sale, a section somewhere between this estate going up to like kind of around all these skull and crossbones lands here that are owned by the Sandbox. These territories were small little groups of sales, right? And we're doing something very similar to that in this particular land sale, where you can see these kind of highlighted box territories show like what's going to sell today is going to be a small amount of land, relatively, you know, to 1 to 2,000 pieces of land, depending on what day it is. I don't have the exact number off the top of my head. I could probably find it if I actually look for it. Here we go. So today, huge on the screen here now, 1,171 lands for sale, similar to the moon sale. So the real answer, if I was to take a wild guess, we're about 10 times more popular on our social platform right now than we were during the moon sale. People are loving what the Sandbox is doing, and they're ready to buy land. That said, I think it's going to be less than 5 minutes, easily. The moon sale sold out the first one in 3 minutes. The second one, I think, was 2 minutes. The longest one was 5 minutes. And we're way more popular now. So it's going to be very fast. Let's see. Final price of sand ETH being used for conversion rate today. So historically speaking, we haven't pegged the sand, or in the past we used ETH. That would actually fluctuate. If ETH went way up on the day, you're going to end up, you would have previously ended up having to pay less Ethereum to purchase. So, hello, David. So you're going to find yourself, when you go to the transaction minute to minute, it might be a little bit different, but it's not going to be dramatic, right? We want to make sure that today's sale, if you buy a 1x1 land that's not a premium land, including those NFTs and those bundles, a 1x1 land is going to be $43, right? And a little bit of change. So yeah, I mean, it does become something that you have to manage a little bit. Like I said, I have the same experience that you all kind of have when we do these purchases. I have bought this land myself. I own quite a bit of land now. I love the Sandbox, and I'm excited to see what we can do with this land. The buying experience I've found, especially if you buy multiple lands or you buy across multiple sales, it kind of all works out in the end. And I get a sense of satisfaction, especially in these pre-sales, knowing that no matter what happens, up, down, left, right, whatever, I'm getting a 10% discount. So that's really nice. And in previous sales, you know, if you're buying an estate, you're getting an even deeper discount than that, right? And that's the same thing here in this one. So let's see. So you can see David is asking here on YouTube. It says inside the big black block. That's the Sandbox land, right? And as I mentioned earlier, the answer to that is I don't know. Honestly, in the interest of fairness, I don't know this, so that maybe I am going to be buying land today. I shouldn't know what's in there, because maybe it's a big partner and I would buy that land first, right? So it's all going to unlock for all of us at the same time, and we're all going to know what's going on in the exact same second. It's right now we got about 44 minutes, 6 seconds left on the timer there. So, okay. There's a question posed in chat. Any 4x4 land for sale? The answer to that is no. Land is presented in smart contracts in only 1x1, 3x3, 6x6. There's a few more size options right off top here. I'll get you that exact. Okay, you can see here on this image, it shows you what we're going to have available across all of these 4.2 events, right? You can see there are 888 regular land parcels with no premium. There's 1,128 premium lands available, coming with NFT assets. There is Estate Small, which is the 3x3, the 6x6, the Estate Large, which I'm going to check my spreadsheet on that. I think that's a 12x12, but I don't want to misquote you. Yeah, that's a 12x12 land, and then the XL. The XL actually has 0 parcels during this pre-sale, which means that you'll have to wait until the main unlocking of all the rest of that real estate before you'll be able to buy an XL space. So somewhere, as I zoom out, somewhere out here in all the rest of this black space is going to be your XL spaces that are huge, kind of like this Mind Fund space there. So you're not able to get the XLs at this time, but okay, so let's see. Previous process, like to buy land from a previous pre-sale. I don't have that on hand, but I can provide you a link in the chat that shows you how to buy land. Hopefully you'll be able to click it. I see that you're looking at it on Periscope right now, so I don't want to make things bad for you. Open read. Make sure that you can what talk about it. And I can go over the process if you'd like to see that process by reading through this article with you. There we go. I just went and linked it so everybody on all platforms can see. All right, so essentially you've got a multi-step process to buying land. I assume that, and let me know if I'm wrong, I assume that you have a wallet, that you have purchased sand, and that the sand is on the same account that you're going to be using for this sale. I would suggest that if you're watching this right now, that you are signed in on the map. Make sure that your wallet is logged in. Make sure that you have sand available in that wallet. Make sure that you have a little bit of ETH to cover the gas fees on that wallet, and then just leave it up, kind of like I have here on this screen, so that you can see when it unlocks live. You don't have to refresh, and it's good to go. Hollow 0.17 ETH, if I was to take a guess, that's enough for a few purchases for sure. I think, and I don't know for sure, I have the ETH gas station open right here. If I was to buy a small estate right now, that's going to use about 100,000 gas, which is going to cost 0.0166 or $6.14. That's just my guess based on my previous purchasing history. I don't know exactly what that smart contract's going to pop up on your screen, because that's based on a lot of different factors, including how busy the network is at the time. Monastic Crypto, as far as I am aware, you are correct about that question. I'm going to answer 2 questions here at this. I'm going to start with Monastic Crypto first and go back to Satoshi. Satoshi, nice. Says image on a tweet from 12 hours ago shows Care Bears on the 12x12. Third from the top on this sales map. Is that where the Care Bears partnership is? And the answer to that is, you know as much as I do. It's unfair for me to know what happens when we unveil the curtain, because just like you, anybody who works for the Sandbox is potentially purchasing the land as well. So we don't want it to be unfair for us to have kind of insider knowledge of the best places to buy and whatever these lands. So you know what I know in that regard, at least. So I would just say keep an eye on the Sandbox socials. Keep an eye on Sebastian's social. He often says a lot of great, interesting things on Twitter that you don't find anywhere else. Keep an eye on those AMAs as we announce AMA events. Be there, and you will learn a lot of things that I'm learning literally in the same moment, which is good. It's a good thing because, again, we don't want any like weird insider trading sort of stuff going on, and so there are definitely moments like that. Okay, so let me go back up really quick. Can I split the estate later in 1x1 lands and sell? So the answer to that, simply, yes, you can. When you're buying here on the map at sandbox.game, what you are buying is you're satisfying a smart contract. Inside the contract, depending on what estate type you buy, you're buying essentially a bundle of 1x1 lands. If you're buying a premium land, you're buying a bundle of 1x1 land, plus 4 NFT assets of Care Bears related materials in this particular presale. So now moving on to the next question here, it says, can you buy multiple lands? So I mentioned just now that it's a smart contract. So each land that you click on, when you see here, and I'm going to go back to the map, when you can see on the presale map here, I purchased this particular land, right? You can see that it's a little bit bigger. It'll show up as like a lighter gray here. It's interesting that this is an example of what it looks like when you break it down, right? Somebody parted out a lot of these estates. So you can see when I click on this estate right here, you see how it's kind of orange. It shows size 3x3 9 parcels, right? Welcome to Mimi Land. You've been featured on the stream. This is an example of an estate that's still all together, right? Somebody purchased a smart contract. They didn't part out those lands on a third-party market like they kept them all for themselves. I assume they're going to want to develop. I assume they're going to want to develop that land as things go along. So on this, when we get loaded back in, here we go. So you can see I clicked on this other estate, right? And I can tell that this estate has been parted out into a bunch of little 1x1s. And maybe they've just sold one of them. Maybe they sold all 9 of them to different people, what have you. But I can click on the individual parcels, and it still says size 1x1, 1 parcel, because this one got broken down later. So if you're buying today, you're going to look for a land. If you want a small estate, you're going to look for one like this. Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot of high traffic, and that's why I recommend that folks get onto sandbox.game map now, right? Because then it should be smooth. If everybody just tried to crash in the last 30 seconds to log in and do all their stuff, you would probably experience some technical things, and you would not be all that satisfied, right? So we want to make sure that everybody gets in here smoothly, has a good experience, and again, as a buyer, this has been the best process for me, as I make sure that I'm signed in, I make sure that I have my sand, I make sure that I have my ETH to cover the gas fees. Not only am I logged in, but I'm staying on the map, and when the timer hits 0, I do not refresh. I wait, because even as you saw where it said connection lost there on the screen, it refreshed itself. I did not refresh the screen. So it's important to understand that that you won't have to refresh it in order for the page itself to refresh in 35 minutes. Let's see here. So, yes. So right now you can see there's no button here on the right side. It says cost 0 sand for this particular estate. It's not for sale on the marketplace. That's what that translates to. I'm not currently signed in on the display that you see because I don't personally feel comfortable displaying the amount of cryptocurrency that I keep in my wallet. So if this was for sale and the marketplace were open here on sandbox.game, you may be able to see somebody doing a sort of DeFi sale right here on the marketplace. When this goes live, you'll see a little blue button that says buy. You click the blue button, and then if you already have cryptocurrency in your account, another blue button will be on the bottom of the pop-up that you see that says buy this land. So the when you're doing that, when you are buying that with the blue button specifically, you're actually gonna get the pop-up from your wallet app. I use MetaMask. I don't know particularly what it looks like when you use Arcane or what it looks like when you use Bitsky, but I know that with MetaMask, I see a pop-up that says, do you want to buy this? And I say, yes. And then it processes that money out of my account, processes that transaction on chain, and boom, boom. You will see that it says booked once somebody clicks book it. That happens before they approve the transaction on their wallet. So if they happen to not have enough money in their wallet, sometimes you'll find that all of those bookings, a couple of them clear out, and you have an opportunity to buy it after maybe a few minutes into the sale, once people reject transactions or they can't afford to pay it. So I tend to stick around a little bit after the sale looks like everything's gone, just in case. Let me see here. There was another question. One big land is better to buy than multiple small lands, ideally, but it is the same thing. So the answer to that is yes, it's the same thing. You satisfy your smart contract, and in exchange for satisfying that smart contract by buying it with sand, you are getting the number of lands. One by one, you're getting all those lands, right? In order to put your cool logo on the map here, like I have mine there, all you have to do is own all 9 lands in this space, right? Because I bought the bundle. Actually, in this case, this is an example of me not buying the bundle, but going out and individually buying all 9 lands in this estate in order, because it was broken up at some point, and I put it all back together, which allowed me to change the logo, and it says 3x3, 9 parcels on this estate right here. Right now, you can't merge randomly connected lands into an estate, but later on, that is an intended feature to make estates that aren't just what's already drawn on the map. So let's see here. Are all bear types scattered across these 4 parts of the sale? Like if I FOMO today, am I going to miss other types of bears? Monastic, I don't believe that you would miss all of the types of bears. When you click on a premium land, it's clear what is sold in the bundle. So in the previous land sale, we had dragons that were sold. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it. Nathan just shared it over here on our Discord chat. So you can see when you go to purchase that bundle, what's included in it, right? So if you want every single Care Bear that is, and I'm actually going to show that look like here. If you want to get one of every single one of these legendary Care Bears assets that are uniquely designed and serialized, so there's only 200 of each, then you click on that land, you should be able to see which one is included with. Right, you'll be able to see that it's going to come with the Queen Petunias and a Baby Yorg and the Dibs Bubble Blower, which is actually my favorite asset here. It's listed as a common asset, but the animation on this is amazing. I was like, it looks like it loops super clean. You'd never know that the animation is happening in a loop. Like it's wild. But each one of these assets is going to be really clear to you when you go to make that purchase. How do you put your logo before buying the land, or we can do it after? You can only put your logo on after you buy the land. That's intentional. You want to make sure that for each for these logos here, you can see they uploaded it, Doji Flip there. And I didn't update these images, but you can change the image that shows. This is kind of the slideshow that comes on up here is intended for a designer to say, what is this game, right? What does it look like when I get inside the game? So you can change these, you can change your logo, but only after you purchase the space. Let me see if I can, when does renting start? Great question. I'm in an order of operations, I would say look for the marketplace to be open first. The team is working currently very hard to make sure that we had today's sand integration ready for this sale. And the marketplace is a step that comes up after the sand integration, and then later we can get into the aspects of the deeper portions of the white paper. So if you're unfamiliar with what that question means, where does it come from? People who own land that are not necessarily game designers or developers, maybe they don't want to showcase art or anything else. We have on our future an intention for you to be able to rent out your piece of land in exchange for sand. You can set kind of a price and say like, hey, do you want to be on this platform? Do you want to publish your game on the Sandbox? That's fantastic. You can rent from, and it'll be an open marketplace. So I assume that rental will automatically have to be reasonable enough for a game developer to want to publish on the platform. And we'll see where it goes. I'm excited to see where everything goes, frankly. From how much does a piece of land cost 5 years from now to how much are people renting to build games in. I saw a fantastic game earlier today, and I don't know if go to my Twitter. A fantastic game that's being designed earlier today, and Planet Rift, right? Like you see this in Planet Rift game, and like it's this whole world that is specifically designed in and for the Sandbox by people in our community. So if you want to hear more about that, I would recommend going and following them as development continues. We have teams working specifically to make designs for the Sandbox so that they'll fill up some of these sandbox spaces that you see on the map. We've also got design and development going on our social hubs. So each one of these spaces that you saw on the map here, let me see if I can get back to that article. You can see here we've got premium location, but this little box here, as you saw on the map, the main map. Back to it. I zoom out. I'm gonna click here. I'm gonna go back to Presale 4.2, so I zoom in super quick. Some of these spaces that you see outlined in white here, these larger boxes, were indicated on the picture of the map with this portal logo, right? And this portal logo shows that when you're in these social hubs, they're going to allow for fast transit halfway across the map with these portals, depending on where they are intended to go. That part I don't have the specifics on yet, but each one of these spaces, if you're looking for ideal adjacency, I personally really like to buy, and as you could see on the map, I actually did buy right up against the Sandbox spaces because I see those as big potential traffic. If people are already in the social hub and they can see my world, they may want to go to that. That's an interesting thing. Am I recording the time lapse automatically? I think I kind of am. Right as the pre-sale goes live. I don't have the really cool view of being signed in, however. So if somebody in the marketing team happens to be watching this and you're thinking, should I record a time lapse? I might recommend, yes, you should record the time lapse as well, just in case. Let's see here. Go back to the chat here. My son wants to create games. This is the place to be. If your son wants to create games, one of the coolest things about the Sandbox that I found is ease of game creation so far. The team that is behind our game maker is doing amazing things that frankly blow me away. In that, not only are they making a great game maker, but it's easy to use. It's easy to understand. And as we go, the game maker is going to kind of turn into like a course on how to make games in a weird way, at least as far as I understand it, because we currently have kind of a click this, scroll down game maker, right? And that game maker is intuitive for anybody. It doesn't matter if you're 10 years old or 100 years old. You could pretty much use the game maker as long as you poke around for a little while, learn how things work, and you can just do it. And as we get further in development, we're going to be changing and transitioning, not eliminating, but only adding. We're adding in visual coding, which is like a middleman step kind of that says like, hey, you know how to click and drag, right? Let's click and drag some code now. And then after visual coding, we're going to be implementing true, proper code into the Sandbox. And so and this is all advertised in our white paper, right? So if you're thinking about your kid potentially learning how to make a game using the sandbox, I couldn't think of a better platform, frankly. And I'm excited to see where we go forward. I've heard that we're going to be trying to potentially get into schools and colleges and things like that with the game maker to say, like, to truly show people how to make a game. But that's, that's so far down the road. So let's see here. So Bitcoin Pendulum, you asked, do we have to refresh when the counter hits 0, or is it going to automatically unlock? In 23 minutes and 35 seconds, this is going to unlock automatically. So don't refresh. I actually find it faster as a buyer to not refresh, to just let it do its thing, because other people are waiting for the page to load while you're not. You're only waiting for this applet built into the page. It's faster for you not to refresh. Okay, how has Binance booked land outside the maps? So that's a pretty simple question, I think. We kind of already had an idea of what this particular presale was going to be. We have a rough idea of our partners for these other presales that I can't talk about. So Binance came in and they said, we love what you're doing. We love our partnership with you. We want to get in, right? We want a space here on the map where people can potentially trade sand directly in the game. And so with that, where do you want it, right? Like when it comes to partnerships, essentially, I will leave the stream live during the presale. However, I'm going to be busy. Anyway, I'll get to that in a second. So the Binance partnership is like, hey, yes, we love what you're doing. We want to make sure that people can potentially trade sand right here inside the sandbox later. And I mentioned the coding adjustments that we're doing in time, so I think it might take a little bit. But so this land, we said, where do you want it, right? And they kind of give us an idea, and we work with those ideas. So you can see that the Binance lands aren't like obvious shapes. They are, just like the other places, essentially estates that have been purchased and put together for the amount of land that they wanted to purchase, right? Like I think one of these had like a little offshoot. Yeah, look at this one. The one down here in the bottom right is funny because it like literally just has one little piece of land poking out there. But like the whole space, I imagine they're going to be using it for that exact purpose, right? And maybe in a lot of different and unique ways. So see here. Presale 4.2. So again, if you want to know exactly where we are in the map, where we're going to be buying today, click this little drop down on the left and click Presale 4.2, and it's going to pop you right onto this spot. We want sand giveaway. You know, I thought about it. I thought about a sand giveaway today, but I thought I probably don't have the brain power to do that all by myself. Because normally when I stream here on Wednesdays and Saturdays, I get to stream at an hour that's reasonable, right? Right now, if you're not aware where I live, it is 3:39 in the morning. Super early, right? Wake up, Joseph. Love it. So the idea of doing a sand giveaway at the same time as trying to answer people's critical questions as they get ready to buy land would be insane. I have a Red Bull. It's blueberry flavored. That's how I survived today. Let's see here. Getting back to some more commentary. Sebastian said 10 million users in 5 years. That's an interesting comment. I think that it could be faster than that, depending on how reception goes. I don't want to hype it up too much, right? But access to the Sandbox platform, people being able to come in and play these games that you're buying the land to design games on right now, is going to be free. And really, the only thing to limit your ability to capture those users is going to be the way that you present your land. If one of the most interesting things that I've thought about in how am I going to develop my land is a video game arcade, right? I have estates. I have estates all over the map, a lot of individual lands too, because I just bought them, right? Like I get excited when we get into these land sales. And each one of these spaces, I can make its own game. And if I charge a reasonable price to pay the game, or to play the game, then I could see users potentially looking at this and thinking like I'm going to an arcade. And in the US, we have a lot of like Dave and Buster's or Chuck E. Cheese's and things like that, right? And all over the world, I'm sure you have a lot of arcades. I know they're huge in Japan, right? So those arcades, if that's the mentality that you go in, you may be able to get users to pay for that. Or Sebastian had another great idea, which is the potential for locking out access to users unless they own an NFT that you sold, which is interesting because that can do a lot of things, right? Maybe you want to host a concert or something inside the sandbox, and they have to buy a ticket, and you sell the tickets as NFTs on a third-party market like an OpenSea, right? Or inside the marketplace here in the sandbox when that opens up later. So a lot of different things that you can do to monetize your games if that's what you're interested in, or that you come out with people maybe willing to buy in on. So there's a question here that says, is it going to be more continents, or the shore we see are the shores they're going to be? All of the spaces in the sandbox are going to have adjacency, right? But because each game is coded individually, you're going to kind of like hop between worlds, or otherwise teleport there. You should be able to see worlds either depending, and this isn't set in stone yet, so I'm kind of winging this part. There are either going to be adjacent floating plots of land on the outside, or as you walk up to the edges of a piece of land, you will see those preview images that I showed you on the map. And when you click on this, right, these preview images that are here may be what you see when you walk up to the edge of a map and say, like, do I want to go to that person's land and go explore that, right? So if I was standing inside of this plot, each one of these spaces out here, like land 10875, this preview image, excuse me, may be showing me inside the game later. And again, it's not set in stone, so it could come in a variety of different ways. But the critical thing here, and the reason why I think this is super smart, is in some of these other like kind of digital real estate spaces, you're seeing that you can just walk from one to the other, right? But they're kind of all bland, and that's a personal feeling. Maybe they look cool, and maybe they have some different coding things, right? But it's super taxing on your system to have to process that. And so when we go back to the statement earlier where Sebastian said 10 million players may be playing in the sandbox in 5 years, that is more viable because of this kind of hopping from land to land idea, where each instance game loads independently. That's more possible because it opens up more platforms. The ability for the sandbox games that you're making to work on a mobile device is kind of predicated on that thought, right? Because when you jump into the land, only your game loads. Only your code for your game loads. And not everybody else's code just in case maybe you walk into it. So it's super good. Pen, the answer to your question, can we make a land free to visit? Absolutely. Yes. That's another idea that I had personally as a concept for my land, is absolutely it can be free to visit. However, like if you wanted to use it as like an art showcase for all of your NFTs, that's a great way to sell NFT art, right? Is you can have your land be free to visit, and you've created like this amazing dragon or something, right? Dragons are super popular right now. If you created that amazing dragon and they can only buy it from you, it may be a showcase there that you have the dragon literally sitting on a pedestal inside your space, and it's doing all of its animations and it's doing its cool stuff. And then you say, hey, buy it here, right? On a little placard or like a pop-up with text or something, right? You say, buy it over here if you want it. So that's an interesting thing that you could do. Let's see here. Is it possible to write a DM to a landowner just by clicking on a map on his or her land? Not that I'm aware of. So these accounts have a type of anonymity to them. However, I assume that you're asking that question because you may want to purchase their land, right? And if that is the case, then you can find every single one of these lands over on OpenSea right now. So the land sale will go live. I am live, yes, but the land sale will unlock in 14 minutes. So if you're here for that, make sure that you're signed in. You're over there on the website. You've got all that ready to go. So yeah, if you want to direct message a landowner to buy, then you can go on over OpenSea.io. You can type in the coordinates to that land, and you can find it, and you can put it in an offer right there. So if that's something that you're interested in, it is hard to find the coordinates on the map. So what I would recommend to do is, let's say that, okay, so this is me, right? I do, in fact, own this land, and I want to click on Defiant Squid's land, right? And so I copy the location. This is how you copy the URL if you wanted to share this location. But I look at that, and then I go to OpenSea, and I type that in the search functions on OpenSea once I'm already in Sandbox stuff. It's not super easy to find, but if you're interested in buying adjacent land, then it's worthwhile doing. It'll probably be easier once we have the marketplace out there. I don't know the full details on the marketplace just yet. We've got 6 to 8 different teams working on any different things at any given time, and my primary responsibility is answering questions with certainty. So I don't want to leave it up in the air. Let's see. Question is, I have sand from Binance. I send it to MetaMask. The answer to that is yes. Make sure that your sand is inside the wallet that your web browser uses, that your Sandbox account is. Yes, because you're going to need sand in order to buy the land, and you're going to need a little bit of Ethereum in order to process the transaction on the blockchain. Let's see here. Do lands have different features like water? No, actually. If you, Trevor, would like to join us on this coming Wednesday, I don't know where you live in the world, so I can't give you an exact time. However, if you right now go in the future 7 hours in the future, but on Wednesday, you'll be here for our live stream where we use the Game Maker live. So what browser do I use for purchases? I use Brave browser personally because it has MetaMask built into it. I like it a lot. However, if you use Google Chrome or any other Chromium browser, I would personally use the MetaMask extension. The only hiccup with MetaMask that I've found so far is we have a brand new token, Sand, which just launched this month, or within the very recent future, or past, sorry. And that token has to be added manually as a custom token. So unless it's a super old token like an Ethereum or something like that, MetaMask may not pick it up automatically, but it definitely is there in your Ethereum account and works. The Bitski, however, if you use Bitski, then that picks up sand automatically. It knows that it's there. Oh, good. It's good to know that sand loads automatically now. I answer that question literally every day. So people always asking. The starting price of the land for a 1x1 land space, which is 96 meters by 96 meters by 128 meters, is, and that's vertical, is going for $43. And double check. Yep. Okay, I've answered that like a billion times as well. So that 1x1 space will allow you to design any game that you like, or use it as an art showcase, or what have you. If you purchase a premium land, which includes the NFT Care Bears assets that you can see here, these legendary Care Bears assets are limited to 200 prints of each asset, and no more will ever be created. These are available at the $100 1x1 land. It'll be marked as this bright yellow square on the map when it unlocks. Creators cannot build a dragon that flies higher than 128 meters. That's correct, yes. However, I think you'll be surprised at how tall 128 meters is. The avatars in the game are only 2 meters tall. They're a normal human being, right? So if you think about how big is your home, and that's roughly 10 meters, maybe 15 meters tall. for a 1-story home, 2-story home, 1.5, something like that. So, and then you go 128 meters, right? You're talking about landmarks like the Leaning Tower of Pisa or something like that, very large. So, so an actual land in retrospect to a game, Trevor, I did cover that a little bit. You're talking about a 96 meter this way, 96 meters this way, and 28 meters this way. It's pretty big, and you don't have to necessarily design your games in that 1x1 like on a flat plane either. Like, you know, I've seen people think outside the box. Alex actually made a game that had multiple layers and levels. So if you wanted to create that kind of like arcade experience where people can play multiple games inside your land and you can only afford to get a 1x1 land space, that's great. You know, make a layer here, have them start on the top. Once they finish that game, they go down to the next layer and the next one. A lot of cool options that you can do with the land. Let's see here. 15 meters. 45-foot house. I mean, if it's 2 stories, right? Like, you got to think like to the ceiling. I mean, I don't know. I live in the U.S. and generally you're talking about like 8 to 10-foot ceilings typically, and then you have like the build space in between, and then the attic and the roof and all that other stuff. So maybe houses are big in the U.S. We have a lot of space over here. Better to buy 2 normal lands or 1 premium land? Elders, the answer to that is kind of up to you. We got about 7 minutes and 30 seconds to answer this question for yourself. A normal land, you can design whatever you want. If you're not interested in having a collectible NFT that was created by our artists and approved by the people who own the IP for Care Bears, then, you know, maybe you're just interested in normal lands because you want to make everything all your own, very unique. However, this is not financial advice, but collectibles are collectible, and there is a market for every type of collectible. So if you find that it's a good value and you want that Care Bears collectible, the original Care Bears are selling for $10,000. So maybe 30 years from now, the Sandbox is still doing our thing, or you have got the NFTs that you are trading on an exchange because they are, you know, you could take them wherever you want as long as the blockchain is still here, and it will be. You know, you've got the world is your oyster, right? You can do whatever you like. So 2 normal lands or 1 premium land, that's up to you. Personally, I never bought any of the dragons. Bought a lot of land because I want to do different things. I want to do giveaways. I want to do that kind of stuff for my socials. So, you know, I have different ideas than other people. I really want to run like teleporters that go everywhere in my lands to different like arcade style experience. That's my goal. So it's up to you. Let's see here. Is it a good choice for long-term business? I believe so, yes. And I'm not alone. Ingenious asked if it was a good choice for long-term business to buy land. And I believe that the answer to that question is yes. Atari believes the answer to that question is yes. Square Enix believes that the answer is yes. And many other partners. Now you can see when you go on to sandbox.game, our list of partners right on the main page as you scroll down. And you can see how many groups believe that this is a good choice for long-term business. If you agree with those people, then I'd say join us, make a great game. You know, if you take that great game and you share it, I will personally. I like those great game experiences, and I've been sharing those to the people who are following the Sandbox when I see something unique, something fun. Also, if you are a game designer, you may be able to join us at, let me see if I can get this URL for you, gamefund.sandbox.game. If you are a game creator, you may be eligible for our game fund there. Or if you're an artist, you could go to fund.sandbox.game. So, yeah, we are under 5 minutes now. So again, if you're not already signed into the website at sandbox.game, please make sure that you are. You should have sand in your wallet. You should have a little bit of Ethereum to cover the on-chain gas fees. And you should be signed in. Make sure that your wallet is signed in. I have seen folks who were super excited and then they forgot to sign in. And then the sale went live and they were like, oh, what's going on? I can't buy anything. make sure you're signed in. Is Atari in good terms with the people? I think they're in hot waters with their latest console. I don't know. I believe that they're in good terms, generally speaking. You have to remember that Atari owns a lot of different IPs that they've created over the years, including Roller Coaster Tycoon, which is a pretty popular series. They branch out in different ways. You know, we're not talking about the days of the Atari 2600. They have a lot of games that are out on mobile. They've got, I mean, yeah, the console is unique because it's going to be the first blockchain focused console, which is I don't know the full details of it, so I'm not going to shill it here on the stream or anything like that. But I bought one personally because I think that it's an interesting concept and I want to see how it works. And it's relatively cheap, right? So like, I don't know that they're in hot water. I think a lot of folks they recently made it so you can buy it with Litecoin or something to that effect. So I think that they are in good terms with the people overall, but they're definitely not the same Atari that they were in the 80s. You know, we're 40 years later though, so see where that is. Let's see here. Oh, an interesting fact. That's great. I mean, I assume that it's a fact. I'm not verifying this as a fact, but 1.5 times the size of the Statue of Liberty. Netarob says, so your vertical space on a piece of land, very high. We're all kind of in hot water right now, just swim. I agree with that sentiment, for sure. The world is kind of in some hot water. I currently, you know, not only are we all dealing with the COVID crisis and that kind of thing, but we've got, I live on the west coast of the United States, which is pretty much entirely on fire right now. It's kind of wild. I know it's like that in Brazil right now. There's a lot of fires going on, a lot in Africa and things like that. So, you know, stay strong out there. Let's see. Plan to buy a land just to do some beautiful builds? Absolutely, absolutely. It's a good place to get some art things, and you know, get that out there. Once you make something and you're happy with it, send it my way. I'll share it for you. I have a lot of fun seeing what you guys can make. Question comes in, will games from the Sandbox be compatible with the Atari console in the future? The short answer to that is yes. Because the Atari console is a Linux-based PC. So if you're not aware of that, that means that also being a PC, you can install regular operating systems on it if you're not a fan of Linux. If you want to turn your Atari console into an Atari PC, absolutely. It's a computer. They have a lot of cool things going for it. So it's super fun. It comes with a NVMe SSD inside, so it should be mighty fast. It can handle what you want. Let's see. Fires all around us. Yeah, stay safe, you know, as well as you can, for sure. Got 1 minute left, and pre-sale goes live now. So, oh, by the way, how do I buy? Oh no. Okay, if your money's in your wallet and you're signed in with your wallet on the website at sandbox.game, click on map. When the map changes color, you need to click on that color and then you can purchase it. I'm going to be purchasing it right now myself. So, I'm super excited. Hype is not even the word for it. 25 seconds as we get going here. Be off the chat as I'm excited for these. I'm off the chat now. In my estimation. Boop. Oh boy, okay. Woo! There must be a lot of people in this particular sale. The load is real right now. Okay, yeah. This is interesting. Because it has been busy in previous pre-sales. Don't refresh, trust me on this one. If you're still listening and you can hear me right now, don't click that refresh button because it's doing that in the background. There is some work happening here. Going pretty quickly early. That is quick. That's just like expected. The early lag definitely going away now, and the lands are going super fast. So if you are watching live right now, you can see that all these lands are turning purple, and that means that they are being booked by users, right? And it looks, oh man, it looks like there's a little bit of congestion on the website right now. So, make sure that you're, ooh, make sure that you're getting in if you can, because it is definitely busy. We shall see where things go here. Personally, I was able to pick up an estate before they all boom gone on the chain. So I'm seeing that they are basically all booked already. How far are we in here? It's 4:02. It has been, it's been 2 minutes and 40 seconds roughly, and almost every land is gone already from this presale. So that is fantastic, in one way, and also fantastic in another. That means that people are excited about this, right? And so if you happen to be watching, I mentioned it earlier, and I'll say it again here. Hold out, right? Watch the page just for a little while, because there's a chance that people have booked a purchase and they can't actually afford the purchase, right? So as these transactions are being booked, until you actually see them all confirm, and by that I mean turn green, they're not necessarily done, right? It may be that somebody who tried to get an estate can't afford that estate in actuality on their wallet, and that booking will change back to available in a little while. Just you know, it'll take a little bit for that to transpire, and until you start to see these lands turn green, like you can see there, I don't recommend trying to maybe double book some of these little yellow ones that are popping up. You can see these transactions verifying. And that is beautiful. That is great work by our UI team. I'm still astounded by this, because I see this every time that a land sale comes up since they've implemented this, where you can see these live on chains happen. I get super excited. So let's see if I got that one. Yes, I did. Oh yeah, super excited. All right. I was able to get this estate that touches the sandbox once again. That's going to be great. We can make a great game together. And you never know, maybe I'll sell that, not sell it per se, give it away, because some of this land that I'm purchasing, I have a full intent to give away to people, Twitter account, that. So, boy, that was fast. That was fast. Holy cow! We're not even 5 minutes into this. This is gone. Everything is gone. Again, all the transactions are processing here on chain, so you can see that happening, and that is astounding. Congratulations to all those folks who picked up Care Bears NFTs today, and especially those who got lucky enough to touch the Care Bears land. I know that the team that's in charge of designing that is doing some great stuff. So hopefully you'll enjoy adjacency to that land. And you can see all these populating now. So this is kind of the moment where potentially some of those estates unlock again. If I was, taking a guess here, where people couldn't afford it, maybe didn't realize it because they were excited and booked everything. Yeah, this is great. That is astonishing. I love it. Let me see if I can get back to some questions. I don't know if anybody's still here with me. If you are asking questions, let me see. Trying to buy for time. I have 4 or 5,000 sand. Yeah. Let's see here. Let's see. How to confirm. I'm afraid to refresh. If your sand got deducted, the way that you can confirm, and it won't matter if you refresh, right? You get a pop-up. At least I do with MetaMask. You get a pop-up that says, "Do you want to buy this?" Right? And you click yes, and your transaction then gets into the blockchain to go. You get the booking, so other people can't click that land, and they can't try to book it. This is only as efficient as, like, how many thousands of people are clicking these lands all at once. But you will be able to see. There's okay, let's see. They click on the state and error. Yeah, Twitch, unfortunately, like that's whether we did it in this way that has the land unlock like this, or we did it in a kind of a pre-order way that has the marketplace unlock the land, you're really looking at the same problem, right? And it is a supply issue. Like, because land is limited, land is going to be hot. Land is going to be difficult to acquire on these land sales. It's been this way in every sale. If you did a pre-order thing where you had to buy a ticket to get in line, that would still sell out really fast, right? So whether you're buying it directly right now as you see it, or you're buying a ticket to buy it later, you run into the same issues. So unfortunately, the best that we can do is to say hope that you can get that transaction in time. So the question comes in: are you allowed to add map, therefore increasing land supply? We don't have a plan to more land. Once the 166,000 total lands is used, distributed, what have you, that's it. That's all there is. 166,464 total land will ever be in the sandbox. That is a potential for 166,464 games. And unless they layer those games inside that land, then it could be more games. But need to be fixed. A lot of error messaging, can't buying land. Definitely we want to meet demand, right? So if you had an issue purchasing land today, you're going to have an opportunity to buy it again tomorrow, the next day, and the day after. Hopefully, folks who bought land today are going to be satisfied with their land purchases. Maybe they want to get more in the next couple of days and what have you. I'm noticing something interesting here, and that is that there's a lot of purple land still. You see all that purple land on the map? If that changes colors back to purchasable, give it a shot. Because if I was to guess, these people haven't approved their transaction on their wallet, or they couldn't actually afford that transaction on their wallet. So if you were trying to get an estate, or you were trying to get a land today, stick with it on the map and wait and see if it changes back to an unpurchased color. There's a good chance that it's going to do that. Red is yours. Yes. If you see red, red is yours. And it says it on the little key at the bottom. Okay. Yeah, at the premium land, I also panicked. I just got random ones. Very good. Yeah, that happens, Let's see. The servers are located in France, primarily, from my understanding. However, I would assume, and I don't know the details completely, I'm not a part of the web dev team, but I would assume that we're also using some kind of an AWS to help us manage that. So servers be in multiple locations throughout the world. I'm not totally certain about that. Not a top level guy in the company. I do a lot of community management and some marketing things. Let's see. Why was I not able to purchase? Any land was occurring in error since someone else bought. Which the best explanation that I could have for that, unfortunately, is that they've got super fast internet. In previous sales, personally, I've been able to buy more land than I was able to buy today. There's a lot of people interested in buying land right now. And if we have thousands of people who are interested in buying today's, 1,100 properties, uh, that's gonna be tough, right? So the best recommendation that I could say is either to come back to us tomorrow and try again, or to wait until maybe purchase it on a third party market, because I found that in the past, and I don't know if this is going to be true or not, but in the past when we were purchasing using Ethereum, you could buy it today and maybe tomorrow the value of Ethereum goes down, right? And somebody had listed it for Ethereum. Even as much as like 2 weeks ago, you were able to buy a piece of land because Ethereum dumped in price one day like crazy. It went down like 20% or something. You were able to buy a piece of land for $44.30 like 2 weeks ago on a third party market at OpenSea. So for an extra buck, you can you didn't have to worry or what have you. You can guarantee that you were going to get it, right? So that was interesting. Let's see. Help. I'm booked and MetaMask asked me $20 ETH for contract interaction. It's almost all I have. It's going to ask their fee. Please explain the payment process. Okay. That pop-up tells you exactly what you'll pay at maximum, right? So if it's asking you 20 ETH for the gas contract and you accept that, if you're the only one who has it booked, you get it. That's what you pay. That's it. That's your on-chain. I got the same pop-up and it asked me, and I think mine was like $16 or something like that for the particular contract that I had. And I said, yes, that was it. No nonsense. Now I need to know how to walk in my land. Right. So Bitcoin, the answer to that is, if you want to join us, right now you can apply to get into the early access alpha for the game maker, right? On the left side of your screen, when you're on the sandbox.game, you'll see that it says create. That is our VoxEdit asset creation system, which would allow you to create like characters, create cars, whatever. You can also animate those characters and those assets. So if you do that with VoxEdit, then those assets get transmitted into the game maker later when you can upload them into the marketplace or import them into the game maker in a future update. Right now, if you use the game maker by clicking play, you can sign up to be in the game maker early access program, and we approve roughly 2,000 to 3,000 different people every week to be in that game maker early access. That will open up to the full public in a future date, but we're applying updates as we go, so we want to make sure that people understand that it is being actively developed. And those creations are how you prepare to push them live when the metaverse is ready to go. So sometime before the end of Q4 of this year, we project to have the metaverse in open beta, which means that you can take those games that you've created in the game maker, you can publish them on your land right here, and then go play them with everyone else. We're also going to be working on multiplayer aspects of the game maker leading up to that metaverse release. So stay tuned. We're constantly dropping more information and more news, showing people the game maker, showing people VoxEdit on the streams right here on Sandbox. I'm on Twitch, I'm on YouTube, we're on, you're watching from your preferred platform right now. So whatever platform you're watching for that right now, if you came back on Wednesday, on Saturday, we're showcasing what that game maker looks like. Let's see. ETH cost was more than advertised. Couldn't purchase. Crypto, I'm sorry. I don't know who gave you that information about what the ETH cost would be. It's possible that was me. I recommend that people always very much overshoot what the ETH cost is going to be, because I can't predict moment to moment what the Ethereum blockchain is going to have in terms of how busy it is. Personally, I hold a lot of ETH. And that's, I understand that that's not really reasonable to ask everyone. However, anytime that, that's kind of a good comment. Anytime that the Ethereum blockchain is busy, you can expect gas fees to go up. So if you're trying to track how much it's going to cost roughly for these transactions, what I would say is, and Yeah, it's twice what it was when I made the projection an hour ago. Keep track of it on ethgasstation.info. You can see the recommended gas prices in Gwei, which is like how many small, tiny little portions of Ethereum it's going to take to process a transaction in a reasonable amount of time. And they have a transaction calculator where you can roughly say how much this is going to be, but there's no way to really be precise about it. So the and the comment that you had here about network failed, the network failed is a way for us to say that someone else has already booked it, and that we're not going to allow multiple bookings, because we've had in the past, before we added that feature onto the website, people were spending gas fees for no reason, right? And we want to avoid that as much as possible. So we implemented the booking system to try to avoid people losing gas by dumping multiple transactions on chain. And then those transactions would also push up the price of Gwei in the moment, right? And so like we have these systems in place to try to avoid or make your experience as good as it can possibly be. So hopefully you'll join us again tomorrow in order to be able to do that. So how booking works, if I can show you here, is let's say you click on this piece of land, right? And there's actually a few little bits of land that may not be processed, right? So if you click on the land when it says that it's available for sale, and then there'll be a button over here that says buy. As soon as you click that buy button, and then you click the correlating buy button that's on the screen, if you get a pop-up that asks you again, remember to click only the blue ones. It'll be booked at that point. And then you're going to get a pop-up that says, do you want to pay the gas fee to actually process this on-chain? And it shows how much in sand you're going to pay, and it shows how much in gas you're going to pay. And you say yes to that, and your booking will eventually turn into green as you see it on the map here. So you can actually still see those kind of happening as we go live. You may see that this space right here that was booked by Back Blizzard is going to, you'll see the 9 blocks or 9 pieces of land change color into green. And you'll see that with these little individual squares as well. And that's showing that not only have they been booked, but they've also been finalized on-chain and purchased. So one higher ping has no chance, another one has low ping and has a much bigger chance. It's about the yeah, unfortunately that's true, but there's not because of the way that the internet works, there's not really much that you can do about that. That would be the same problem if you were trying to buy a movie ticket or you know, a concert ticket or something like that. You run into that. It's unfortunate, but it's something that any purchase would have to deal with. So let's see here. First question that I wanna hit on is, where do I see my Care Bear? Right. So I don't have this signed in on this, but if you click me on the left, it's asking me to log in. That's my other computer that I use for streaming exclusively. If I click me right now, you can click inventory, which will have a little new thing on it. And then it says assets, lands, states on there. So you should be able to see your assets, your individual lands, and your estates that you have. Super cool. And you can update your profile. If you click on your land or estate, you can also hit view in map on that spot, and it'll take you to the spot on the map that it is. You can see your estate. Like when I click mine, it would zoom me in right here, and it'll show me that just like that. And I can see my little preview pictures that I may or may not have uploaded right here. And I can see what the cost is in sand to buy it right now, which is not for sale. And you can upload a logo to it as well if you are on your own. If you are actually logged in and you are the owner, in the top right, they'll have a little blue marker right here that looks like a pencil paper. And you can click that, and it is going to show you an interface with your land pictures that display here, what you're going to name it, and I can change that here. Let's change it to Joe's land stream, and I can add a picture. I'm going to do that on my other computer so you guys can see how long it takes for that to process the website. Hopefully it'll Wow, that was fast. Wow. So if that doesn't tell you right there that the website performs quite well, however, there's a billion people on here right now trying to get this land, I don't know what will. If you saw this little VX looking button pop up, I literally clicked the mouse on this computer, and this one that's showing you the display happened almost in the same second. Super fast. And you can see it says Joe's Land, high stream. Who owns it? The Vision X, that's me. That was super fast. Congratulations to the web dev team. If anybody on the web dev team is watching right now, that was astounding. Okay, so question here. Care Bears available tomorrow? Answer, yes. You'll see tomorrow that section number 2 from the pre-sale goes on. You can see here on this little map, section 2 is the top right section, right? All of these yellow tiles on the map there will include Care Bears. So if you were to purchase one of those, you're getting the Care Bears NFTs. You're also getting the Dibbles, Bubble Blower, Baby Yorg, Queen Petunia, and one as listed Care Bear legendary asset. So that'll be available tomorrow. The sale starts again in about 1 day, 1 hour, 38 minutes. I'm going to be streaming again for Premium Lands was priced in 2107. And shouldn't it be 20,000 sand, aka USD? So that the sand prices are happening live as they go. That's a good question. I didn't frankly pay much attention. I got really excited and wanted to buy more land. More land. Super hype. However, you're looking at kind of the most accurate snapshot that we can provide at any given moment. Tomorrow's land sale, that number should be a little bit different again, if I was to guess. But I don't work on the web dev side, so I don't have the cleanest answer for that. So where the section available is tomorrow from where we are now on the map. Yeah, sure. So the section is just to the right of what went on sale today. Let's see section 2 right here. It says on this picture here, Wave 2, September 16th, 1 p.m. GMT. 1095 lands for sale. That is this section 2 inside the white outline, or what is here on. And again, if you want a Care Bears NFT for that sale, how did you book an estate so quick? I'll get to that in a second. There are simple preparation things that I do on any given day to be sure that I can get an estate. And I go over these with as many people as want to ask. You ask me on Telegrams, you ask me on anything else, and I'll tell you all the steps all the time, right? The first one is I make sure that I'm signed in. I want to be signed in before, like 30 minutes before I get signed in. In fact, I was signed in hours before. I pretty much never sign out of the website, but I use it all the time, right? I'm on the team. So the blocks for sale with Care Bears will be yellow, yes. But the after you're already signed in on your page, you should kind of have a rough idea of what you want, right? We have these great preview maps here that we give out, like this one before every sale, that show what the environment's going to look like. So if you know that you want to get a Care Bear, then generally speaking, you know where you're going to want to click, right? Because you're understanding that there are thousands of other people who want this land just like you do. And then essentially, you click the land, you click book, and for me personally, I want the land, and I don't really care what the gas cost is. I understand that it costs money. I understand that it's, for some folks expensive. I believe that I can get a return on that investment. I'm going to be making games for this. I want people to enjoy my experiences, and I believe that they will. So I personally knew that I wanted to have a land that touched the giant sandbox square. I didn't know that it was a giant sandbox square because we don't have any insight on this. I know only what you know. So I had this picture, and I'm like, hey, that giant square. If it's like the other places on the map, you know, like up here, it's probably going to be the sandbox social space. So I knew I wanted to roughly be in this area. And I tried to click this one first. The Z Hildago kids got it first, right? I saw it. As soon as I clicked it, there was no buy button. And so I assumed it was already booked. And so then I clicked on the other one and I got lucky, right? So, yeah. And the estates are definitely pre-formulated, right? So how it works, how an estate really works is like this, right? When you're buying an estate, you are signing a smart contract to buy 9 lands. That's what you're doing. It's not like they are bundled in that smart contract. So the way that the map is drawn is that the dev team has said, here is a smart contract that Valerio Crypto bought for a medium land. That's going to contain 36 land NFTs. They're all going to be adjacent, right? So now that Valerio Crypto has bought those 36 lands in this one smart contract, they are given 36 one-by-one land tokens, right? And so they're able to do whatever they want with those 36 tokens. If they want to break them up, they can. You can see an example of that up here in the land 4.1 pre-sale that we did. This person, they have sold at least one of these lands. And so when I click on it now, it's individually showing me this estate land. And maybe they gave one away. You can see Elf Non. It looks like maybe they gave one to a friend or something like that. But they've broken these up. But if I click on this tile up here, this tile highlights as one whole smart contract estate asset still. So they haven't broken it up into little bits. So that's when you're looking to buy this tomorrow, make sure that you're, if you want an estate, you're looking for the boxes that look like 3x3s. So you're going back to this picture and you're saying, where is a 3x3 estate? And where do you want to buy it, right? If you want to buy it next to the Care Bear space, you can see there the Care Bear space is actually only surrounded by 1x1s, right? So you couldn't buy an estate smart contract there, but you get those premium NFTs with that. You get all those assets like the actual legendary Care Bears. The closest one, if you wanted to be really close to a Care Bear spot, but you didn't necessarily want the NFT assets, then maybe you're looking to buy right there because that is a 3x3 space. So you keep that in mind. And then when it unlocks, you already roughly have an idea of where you need to go. Click the buy button, good to go. So, let's see, will it blocks the... We're 30 minutes past now. We're 30 minutes past the launch of all of the lands. Not quite all of them have finalized their booking, but they've all been kind of booked consistently for the last 30 minutes. Not a lot of opportunities to sneak in there and get one. Maybe there's still a chance that 1 or 2 of these unlocks and you can go get it. Looks like somebody just did that a half a second ago right there. I saw one of them go yellow for just a little minute. So if you have questions about the sandbox at this time, I'm already, I'm awake, I'm ready, raring to go. It's 4:30 in the morning. So if you have some questions about the process of buying, maybe you're into the idea of trading, maybe you're into the idea of creating, you want to know about the future of the sandbox and what that means, ask me now. Any more pre-sale coming up? Yes, Zuzu. You can see at the top of the page on sandbox.game, if you click on map, you can see a timer. Tomorrow, we will have another round of pre-sale. So, thanks, Crypto Holder. Thanks for coming with me. Billy, I don't have a giveaway today, buddy. We do giveaways for Sand on every Wednesday and Saturday in the live stream if you want to watch the Game Maker footage. Zuzu, you can, when that timer hits 0 tomorrow, we're going to have another pre-sale. That's going to be for the section that I put right in the middle of the map now. This section right here is going to go up for sale tomorrow. Yes. Yeah, stainless steel katana chef's knife for free at no extra charge. No, so let's see here. Yeah, if I'd love to see you tomorrow. If you want to come back for that. Finance land located on the map. Yeah, let me show you. I'll zoom out just a little bit. First of all, I want to highlight what presale for means, right? If you're buying today, you're enjoying a 10% discount, at least, off of the regular price of what a land will be. Once the lands are sold out, then it's up to the market to decide. It's up to you and me, right? Like, what are we willing to buy land for? What are we willing to sell land for, etc., right? But for now, all of this space here that has this little white highlight in it, in this section here, is presale for land, right? Presale for land accounts for roughly 18,576 total lands that will ever be offered at this 10% discount. So it's like it's an incentive for you because you're getting in before other people really know about the product. You're getting in before everything's fully fleshed out and obvious, right? And we're showing you everything that we can to show you that value is great. Obviously our partners are seeing that great value, and so they're really willing to get in here early. You get to enjoy that as well. But once those lands are gone, then we get on to where the Binance lands, right? So you can see on the map here these giant swaths of Binance land. They ended up buying all on their own more land than was sold today. Like, they just came in and they were like, yes, we love it, we're in, let's go, right? So the total amount of lands that Binance has purchased is about the same amount that we're selling to the public in September. It's wild how awesome they find this to be, and I'm all here for it, right? They're going to try to use that land to allow you to buy and trade sand right within the sandbox later on in development. So they got some up here. That's not the only space. They got some over here, right? They got some down here on the right, all the way up against the wall of the world, and then they got some on the bottom left as well. So when you're in the metaverse later, when the metaverse releases, when the development reaches the point where they can add some custom code, I expect that they're going to want to be able to make it so you can trade right here in the sandbox. Let's see here. Is there any other way that I can look at my land? Right now, you have an NFT. That's what you have. What you make it is up to you, right, Lewis? So when you say, is there any other way that I can look at my land? Your land will be anything that you want to make it. If you use the Game Maker application, you start designing your land in there. You can then publish that when this feature becomes available on the marketplace. You can publish to your land the world that you create in the Game Maker. It'll look exactly like what you made there, except that users are just getting the test experience. So when you're in the Game Maker and you've made a game, you've finished it all, you click test, you play your game, you're satisfied with the way that it is, the way that it looks, etc. You publish that. That's what they'll see when they get into the metaverse. So the metaverse isn't live yet. That'll be coming very soon, though. So you can expect to see the metaverse before the end of the year. People will be in a public beta for the metaverse, and we'll continue to make that better and more feature-filled as the months, weeks, years go by. Let's see. Did the lands become available straight away when the clock hit 0, or did you need to refresh the page? The answer is they became available immediately. What happens when you're watching this live, and you can go back to this once I stop the stream. I talk for about an hour leading up to the actual launch, but you can see what it looks like. The land itself basically just changes a slightly different shade, right? So you can see on the bottom here at the key, this is on my preview. See that? Yeah. So right where that like now sandbox land presale popped in, you can see at the bottom it says my land's available, booked, purchased, premium, unavailable, right? So available is like a slightly lighter gray, but it's quite obvious when the land goes live because it'll show you like the Care Bears thing popped up and it was like, boom, Care Bears is on this space, right? And the sandbox space is unlocked and you saw those. So when you see those big, bright, shiny colors pop into these darker gray spaces, you know that it's unlocked and you can click a piece of land and you can book that. So that's that. You didn't have to refresh to see that, though. just to be clear. I don't recommend refreshing because this is constantly refreshing. And just a little bit ago, I showed you how fast it refreshes by using this computer right here to display this computer, which is what you actually see on the live stream, right? So my second computer that I use for the live stream, and I know how weird that sounds, but my second computer that I use for the live stream, I'm not signed in to the Sandbox. And actually, I'm going to show this to you one more time. I'm going to go ahead and change this display picture that is up here right now. I'm going to delete it. I'm going to save. Boom. You saw how fast that was? I was using this computer, and that's what the users saw. That fast is how fast that our website responds. So you don't need to refresh the page in order to see these things happening live. It's happening inside that map all the time. I'm going to put an image back in there just because I want it in there. Let me. Boop. Again, that fast. I said save. I don't know if you could hear me say save. I said save. It was saved. You saw it live. So that's how fast things work here. It's pretty awesome. Let's see. Got 3 next to the sandbox like you do. Nice. I think that that's a very smart decision. I believe that the sandbox lands are going to be used for some of the coolest stuff in the metaverse. And that's not just because I work here, but because I like them. I like them as social spaces. I like them as spaces that we're going to be using for the game fund. I like them for so many reasons, and I'm super excited. Let's see here. What does duration 30 days mean on the referral link? That question was asked just a few minutes ago. That means that if you refer someone to purchase land or assets, etc., that referral bonus is going to last for 30 days. So it's typically, historically, land sales haven't happened back to back to back like this. They happen over kind of a longer period. Like the last land sale when we did Presale 4.1 happened at the beginning of August. And this is now the middle of September, right? So essentially, your referral is going to work for basically like one sale if you were just doing it for land sales, or if you get later referral bonuses and you're doing that. There are also other ways to get referral bonuses. I've noticed if you find like a really fantastic price for a piece of land on OpenSea, they have their own referral system where you can take a small portion of the sale. You can, and users who are selling on there might incentivize that more or less. So let me see here. The dude with the hat and the glasses, that's a great question that I am happy to answer. We actually had this. Oh, it doesn't say his name on there anymore. Maybe he wanted to change it to his nope, just misclicked. Refresh the page. The dude in the hat and the glasses, his name is Whale Shark. Likes to buy a lot of land. And based on his name, you can assume that he's a bit of a whale. I would agree with that sentiment. We like him. He's super cool. He actually owns, maybe not owns, maybe that's not the right word. I don't know the semantics. He operates his own blockchain that focuses on NFT. And he's super interested in the project, super excited about it, obviously. He owns quite a lot of land. And he's all over the map. Yeah, huge. Huge. Let's see here. Any insights into cool games to be released on the Sandbox? Yes. The best answer that I can give is follow the Sandbox game, because we talk about a lot of stuff on there. A lot of stuff. Also follow Sebastian, and if you're inclined, follow me. I share things every day. Every single day. In fact, earlier in this stream, I talked about Planet Rift, which is not, from my understanding, and I may be wrong, because I don't necessarily do the marketing for this, but the Planet Rift game is a user-generated content, right? Like it's just a regular team of developers working to make a great experience in the Sandbox, and they've got really compelling everything that I've seen so far. Anytime I see a new little piece of something from them, it looks really good, really pro. So I'm interested to see how that develops. We have, of course, our partnerships, right? Care Bears, like they're not just NFTs. They're going to be a space. They're going to be a world here, right? Shaun the Sheep, Old School Games. They're making great stuff here. So as all the Atari spaces, geez, we're making like dozens of games with Atari here in the sandbox. So that's great. So there's going to be quite a lot of good there. Okay, AT, when you click the land and click buy land on the top right, you got an error message each time. So that error message only popped up because someone else clicked buy faster than you. And that might seem improbable, but if you watch what this looked like, well, you were there, right? You saw how fast those were getting eaten up into, and they turned into little purple spaces, right? So those purple spaces, even as you see them now, are bookings for the land. And these aren't necessarily finalized bought, but that somebody has queued this up to buy it on their wallet. So it is what it is. I got beat on this land right here. I wanted to buy this one Z Hildago Kids got. I had it in my mind. I already knew where it was. I knew where I wanted to click based on the preview image that I saw here. I didn't get the opportunity to do so. They got it faster. They clicked it first, right? So is what it is. I moved on to the next one because I didn't want to miss my opportunity to touch the sandbox. I personally love the sandbox social space locations, or what I would perceive to be those locations, and they're going to be used for. So let's see here. Any of the land marked as sandbox waiting to be given to games companies like Atari, or is the land marked solely for use by the sandbox? Okay. So, multi-layers. The answer to that question is no, it's not going to Atari. However, many of the sandbox lands will be used for game development. Yes. The full details are not up to me, per se, to give out. However, I could guess, with a good educated guess, that the lands that are smaller, the sandbox lands, like this one, may be given as part of the Game Maker program, or what will in the future be known as the Foundation Fund, right? So if you go to gamefund.sandbox.game and you are a game developer, and you give us a pitch, right? You say, hey, I've got a great idea for a game. This is how I'm going to make it. This is what it's going to look like. This is the point of the game, right? This is the team behind the game. And you send that to us. You can have the development of that game paid for, essentially, right? Like, we're going to take these lands and distribute those lands over time to those game developers, including these smaller lands, right? Like all these little blue ones, and you're wondering, what are they for, right? So they're used for incentivizing folks who are possibly influencers who may help bring people to your lands, for game developers that will have smaller projects and maybe they don't have it all fully fleshed out, but we like the concept, things like that. So as the years go by, and you can see how this is laid out on the, we had a Binance research article that's super compelling. You can see that every transaction that's processed with sand, including the transactions that happen today, a portion of that sand is pushed into the Foundation Fund, specifically so that we can finance people developing these games. So if, hopefully that answers the question in a good way. I'll have 0.27 ETH. So surely that'll be enough for 2 to 3 transactions, or not. Let me do the math really quick, and then I'll give you a guess. Again, my guess is only an educated guess, and I can't guarantee that, but 0.7 times the current value of Ethereum, which I closed this page, ETH USDT. I'm going to open it here on the live. You're able to see that. Okay, 0.27 times that, right? 376. Let's say 376. That's $101. I did a transaction to buy an estate. I'm going to look at that transaction to try to give you a round number, right? That contract interaction, here cost me $10.75 today. So that's not what the pop-up said. I know that the pop-up said that it was upwards of potentially like $16. But at the end of the day, when it actually finalized on chain, I paid $10.75 to get a small estate. I believe with confidence that you could definitely process a transaction for that amount of money. Yes. That was for a small estate, right? So I don't know if you're buying something larger. I don't want to, give you 100%. Just giving you the best estimate that I can. This changes day to day, minute to minute, frankly. I bet you if I go to the ETH gas station right now, it's a different price. Yes, it is. The recommended gas price is slightly higher than the last time I looked at it. And this gas price is nearly twice as high as what it was at the start of the land sale. So things are not even the start of the land sale, sorry. The start of my live stream an hour before the land sale. So there's quite a lot to consider moment to moment, right? So I always try to cover my bases and have a bunch of sand. Right now I'm still sitting on like almost an ETH. Or yeah, sorry, I meant to say ETH, not sand. But I'm sitting on almost an entire Ethereum because I want to make sure that if I want something now, I'm getting that now. I still got a lot of sand for the future sales. So with any luck, I'll be able to get another estate for either distribution to the folks as giveaways or as my personal designs go. Super hype, super excited. Let's see here. Care Bear's going for interesting. It's interesting that you say that. So I like the excitement, right? I'm loving the passion. However, to say that Care Bears are going for 0.69, I think that's a bit of a miss there. They could go for that, absolutely. I believe that these Care Bears can go for any number of price. Like I said, there was a Care Bear that's over $10,000 at auction, right? Some of those originals. However, that's what they're listed at, right? And that's an important distinction to make when you talk about tips. Again, not financial advice, and this is more of a Joe thing to say and not an official Sandbox thing. But yeah, I'm going to answer that question in a second, AT. Yeah, listed. Yes. Very important. Understand that it's listed at that, right? Like maybe it never sells. You don't know. So it's always about like what people want. I believe personally that value is substantiated. Saw some dragons selling for similar rates, and the Care Bear is unique in that it will continuously get new action to play out because it is based on the child model in the game maker. So it's a super interesting and unique NFT, not just in that it is limited, but that it is it's going to have some advanced features in the game maker, which is pretty cool. Okay, so AT, you said there was a 3-second delay for me with the spinning wheel after selecting a land before the buy icon popped up. Is that normal? Same for you. Is it normal? No. But I have super fast internet. And that's not a flex. Like, I have 1 gigabit per second download rate. So, I don't know what normal is all relative, right? Like I was talking to somebody earlier and they said that they had really fast internet and that was 12.5 megabits per second compared to my 1000 megabits per second. So normal is relative. How long does it take you to load a YouTube video, right? Like there's a lot of data that happens, and especially when you've got like 1,000. I know there was more than 1,000 people signed in today. Like that, no doubt, based on the way that the land moved today, it was a lot like the people were hype, ready for it, they want it. So yeah, let's see here. Let's see. How do you think it will be higher tomorrow? Oh, okay, that's got to be related to the gas fee, right? Back when we were talking about gas. Okay. How gas fees work on Ethereum, if you're not aware of this, is that gas fees are entirely based on demand of the Ethereum blockchain, right? We just did this land sale. We processed over 1,000 smart contracts on the Ethereum blockchain. We affected the cost of gas collectively as buyers, right? Because we just put another 1,000 transactions on the Ethereum blockchain within 5 minutes. So, in order for our transactions to be processed, we either pushed someone else out of the way, process them fast depending on how much gas you paid, or you waited in line, in which you added congestion to the network. The same thing is true for every Ethereum. If you're processing on-chain anything, like every transaction that happens on Uniswap happens on-chain to go from my wallet to yours, right? And that is an on-chain transaction that adds congestion to the network. So when you hear things about DeFi, right, what you're saying is on-chain transactions. You're not using a centralized or a layer 2 service to process your transactions. So everything happens on network, and it waits for somebody with a computer like mine to process that block. And so that kind of hints at, will it be higher or lower tomorrow? Like, you can only tell based on like how hype people are to buy on DeFi, or how hype people are to buy this land. And obviously that's a lot of people want it. So more transactions like that. Let's see here. Check out my land in the top right corner, 3x3, and let me know your thoughts on the location. If this is it, successful harvest, smart. Yeah, okay, yes. So smart. So smart. In my opinion. This is just a personal feeling. This isn't an official Sandbox whatever, right? This is a Joe to you, because I buy when you buy. And this particular land touching the Sandbox in kind of a sneaky way, right? Because people aren't necessarily looking even at the Presale 4.1 spaces. I think that's going to be great, because either this giant estate is going to be turned into a giant game that's going to be super popular, or it's going to be used as a social hub that's also going to be super popular. I personally think that was a smart buy. Very fun to give feedback on that. You see wallet error, why I could not buy any of the lands each time I tried. Many thanks. Okay, so the answer to that is that the error that pops up when you're trying to make those buys is really only popping up to tell you that the land has been sold. It's or booked, not necessarily sold, because it has to actually be verified by somebody's wallet. But you like me were among, I would guess, a few thousand people at least, right, that wanted to buy the land today. So when I click on this land right now, it says booked by Afterpay. I don't know who Afterpay is, but I might have clicked it at the same time as them. We might have clicked buy at the same time, but their click was before mine, right? And I got the exact same error. I got it down here, and I mentioned it a few times so far. Z Hildago Kids. They purchased this land, or booked this land, the same second that I wanted to book the land, and I got that error too. I got it on this computer over here because I'm not signed in on the stream computer right now. But they booked that at the same time that I did. So I got that error, and I was like, oh man, geez, right? And I moved on to the next piece of land that was my second favorite. So what I would recommend to avoid that kind of conflict, some things you may not be able to fix, and I don't know what to do necessarily about that, but like, really good internet, always great, right? Be signed in before the sale. I'm sure you check that box. You're also going to want to make sure that you don't refresh the page, because the page refreshes automatically. And then maybe another very important thing, and I mentioned this earlier, is that you look at this map right here. Tomorrow, in 1 day, 1 hour, 5 minutes from now, you'll be able to buy in section 2. So if you're interested in buying tomorrow, then look at this map and decide now. You're like number 1, number 2, number 3, maybe lands that you want to get, and then have a rough idea of where it is. Get a feel for the area, right? Come back to the map. Let's say I wanted to buy this one that's right here, dead center, right? I'm going to be on the map. I'm gonna wait for tomorrow, and I think it's right around here. I don't know exactly, but I know that it touches a big estate square. For all those pings, getting a lot of messages on Telegram. So David, thank you for the messages there. Um, so anyway, the yeah, you basically have to be like trying to cut time down as much as you can because you know that it's in a high demand. And whether we did it this way or we did it on like a pre-order, every method that you could possibly do to make these sales happen would unlock at some point, right? They'd unlock at some time. So it's kind of like when you try to buy concert tickets for a super popular group and know they're going to be gone instantly. So you think about ways to try to cut down your time. And I'm getting a bunch of messages on the marketing group now. Must have some stuff going down. Let's see here. Total amount of land that will exist. Was it something like 100,000? Does that mean individual small squares? Yes, it does mean individual small squares. They're not always sold as individual small squares. Important thing to understand. Right now, in round 4, you can see all this white highlighted land here. All of it, all the way around, including what's already been sold a bit, not including these Binance squares. That area is roughly, this is the pre-sale for land areas where you're getting a 10% discount on that land. That's roughly 18,576 lands, right? So all of those lands, 18,000. Sounds like a lot. Obviously, it can sell very fast. The remaining space, all of this that's not already green or have a picture, all this that's not inside this white line here, all this outside space where these Binance squares are, that's roughly an additional 80,000. I'm going to say 80,000 land. It was originally 83,592 land. However, as part of the partnership with Binance, some of that is now sold. Now, keep in mind that there are 2 different groups of reservation lands as well. So the total land that exists, period, right? I'll break it down backwards so that maybe it makes more sense. The total amount of land, period, that will ever exist is, I'm going to mute this. You guys don't have to hear that. For 4 hours. So the total amount of lands that will exist is 166,464, right? So that 166,464 lands. Take away from that reserve land. We're going to be reserving some of that land specifically for multiple different kinds of uses. So we're reserving 25,920 lands. Some of that you may already see as reserved on the map right now, where it says Sandbox, where those little blue lands are. Right? And we've got Sandbox land, which is land that the Sandbox will always own. We'll work on projects to keep the health of the metaverse up there, right? We want to make sure that there's always something to do for those folks as they come into the metaverse in a kind of a free aspect, so that people are here to come play on your lands. So that's 16,704 lands. So taken away from the 166,000 lands, those 2 groups, you can see how now maybe there's not as much land as you thought, especially with how fast that this land sale went. So there's a lot going on. It does leave the potential for a good future, great health for this. I mean, if you think about all of those 166,000 lands, if there's a game produced on every single one of them, that's a lot of games. If there's only a game produced on half of them, that's still a ton of games. So anybody who comes in here to play these games in a free-to-play sense, in like an arcade game sense, what have you, they're getting a lot to do. It take a very long time to be able to do it. These games aren't like, you know, they're not just like roll the ball, skee ball style, right? Like they're big diverse games. So, B, I gotta tell you, get some rest, probably off the table, because I'm back for more of this in 1 day, 0 hours, 59 minutes, and 25 seconds. So I will probably end the stream here though, because we're an hour past the initial launch of the sale. I appreciate you guys watching. If you have more questions, you can ask us there on the Telegram chats. You can ask us on Discord for the Sandbox game.